On May 22nd, 2024, the popular Japanese singer/actor Hoshino Gen was enjoying dinner with his wife at home and having a great time. Unbeknownst to him, a single tweet on X a few hours ago is about to turn his life upside down and make him the most hated man in Japan. But before we get there, let me provide you with all the background knowledge you need to understand the scale of this controversy. First, let's go all the way back to 2016, when Hoshino Gen starred in a popular J-drama called The Full-Time Wife Escapist. Starring alongside him was Arakaki Yui, who had at that point been the most popular actress in Japan for the majority of the past decade. The show was a massive success, but what turned it into a phenomenon was his theme song, Koi, performed by Hoshino Gen himself. While Hoshino Gen was already a well-known singer-songwriter before The Full-Time Wife Escapist, the show propelled him to unprecedented popularity and exposure. Following this massive break, he proceeds to establish himself as one of the most talented individuals in the entertainment industry, with numerous hit songs and popular TV shows in the next few years. On May 19, 2021, he announced his marriage to Arakaki Yui. It was one of the biggest news in Japan that year, shocking the whole nation. The way news channels were announcing the breaking news was as if an earthquake had happened, and that just shows the magnitude of this event. However, in the age of social media where everyone has a platform to voice their opinions, albeit a minority, many reactions toward Hoshino Gen and Arakaki Yui's marriage were quite negative, mostly due to their appearances. Now, this kind of reaction is unfortunately very common throughout all countries and cultures. People love discussing celebrities' dating lives and judging who deserves or doesn't deserve their partner. But there's a certain toxicity within Japanese society that often takes this narrative to another level. It is almost a stereotype that Japanese people are humble and polite, but don't mistake those practices for kindness. Why do you think bullying in schools and workplaces is such a common issue throughout their society? Because even mean people know how to put on a humble and polite facade in public. Only behind screens do we see the people's true colors. If you've seen Oshinoko, or are familiar with the terrace house controversy, you would know that cyberbullying in Japan is even worse than in Western countries. The dark side of Japanese cyberspace is very disturbing, and in that realm resides a group of problematic individuals. There isn't a name for that group of people, but the closest word would probably be incel. It is usually a group of entitled otaku, aka nerds, who are delusional about their favorite idols, actresses, or even weather women, and will become irrationally aggressive and resentful when their favorites started dating and getting married. In this case, Arakaki Yui, who is arguably the pinnacle of Japanese otaku's fantasy. While negative reactions were to be expected, they were mostly overshadowed by the majority of the country congratulating the marriage, especially because they already played a lovely married couple in The Full-Time Wife Escapist. We now go back to May 22nd, 2024. The couple just finished enjoying their dinner at home, and Hoshino Gen was starting to wash the dishes, being the great husband he is. But suddenly, his Instagram got blown up by hate comments under his recent post, and on other platforms as well. People are throwing all kinds of nasty words at him. He's starting to realize that something awful, something insidious is happening behind his back. That is when his manager called him and told him what had happened. A few hours ago, a shameless ex-user who's known for spreading rumors about scandals tweeted that a male singer who married a super popular actress after starring in the same TV show has cheated on her with a news anchor. The scandal was going to be published in a magazine, but his agency paid 1 billion yen to the publisher to drop the cover. Lastly, he added that their relationship is practically over, and they haven't filed for divorce only because it's going to affect their work. His agency instantly denied the allegation, but the rumor had already spread across news channels and the internet like wildfire. And since Arakaki Yui is universally loved in Japan, Hoshino Gen suddenly became the most hated man in Japan overnight. On May 23rd, the day after the incident, Hoshino Gen personally denied the rumor through his Instagram story, but many people still weren't buying. Because for the haters who disliked the marriage in the first place, the truth never mattered. All they wanted was to prove that Arakaki Yui married the wrong guy who didn't deserve her. The false allegation was merely an excuse for them to channel their jealousy and entitlement toward Hoshino Gen. And one of the biggest problems with social media is that whoever's louder often dictates the narrative. The scrutiny continued for a few more days until Arakaki Yui decided to speak up on Hoshino Gen's radio show on May 28th. If you're wondering why she hadn't commented on the situation sooner, a huge reason is that she's an incredibly private person. She's not on social media, and the only reason she has an X account is to prevent others from impersonating her. People rarely get the opportunity to hear or see her outside of TV, so when she made an appearance on Hoshinogen's radio show, everyone listened. The show started with him talking about this horrible experience.
100% やっていないことで、事実が一つもないことで、日本中から像を向けられた感覚になったんですよね。で、その経験は今まで一度もなくて、本当に恐ろしかったし、そして、あと、自分以外のね、妻も含め、仕事仲間とか、きっと今辛い思いをしてるだろうなと思うと、本当に悲しかったです。なんていうか、とても悲しかった。もう二度とあんな気持ちにはなりたくないなと、本当に心から思います。
Then Arakaki Yui called in to share her side of the perspective.
改めて私の口からもお伝えできればなと思いまして、本当に今回のことで噂されていること、騒がれていることに事実は一つもありません。
ありません。
なのでちょっと安心してもらいたいなという気持ちでお邪魔しました。で、私が今回すごく辛かったのは、もちろんこういうことが起きてしまったこと自体もすごく辛かったんですけど、誹謗中傷、攻撃を受けて、辛い思いをしている姿を隣で見るのが本当に辛くて、もう二度とこういうことが起きてほしくないなと思ったし、こんな思いになりたくないなと思ったし、誰の身にも起きてほしくないなと思ったので、それを願っております。
After that, the general public realized the whole fiasco was a mistake and moved on, but the damage had already been done. The amount of trauma caused by such a focused hatred from the whole nation is unbearable for most people. I can't imagine what Hoshinogen must have gone through. And what about the despicable ex-user who started the rumor? Well, he refused to apologize and delete the post for almost 4 months after the event. But after scrounging around looking for the tiniest piece of evidence that indicates Hoshinogen cheated on his wife, with no prevail, on September 22nd, he finally deleted the post and tweeted the most insincere apology ever. Regarding that time when I posted about the male celebrity's affair and how his agency tried to hide it, I couldn't gather any evidence, so I deleted the post. Apologies for your inconvenience. That's it. No accountability, no repercussion for almost ruining someone's life. While this saga may have ended, Hoshinogen's misfortune isn't quite done with him yet. At the end of the year, he was invited to perform at Kohaku, the biggest Japanese music festival hosted by NHK and broadcast throughout Japan. When announcing the set list, he selected a song called Why Don't You Play in Hell, which was the theme song for a movie with the same title. However, this selection instantly received backlash because the director of the movie was involved in a sexual harassment scandal a few years ago. So some people with their impeccable logic claim that performing this song signifies NHK's support for such behaviors. What people don't know is that the reason why NHK and Hoshinogen selected Why Don't You Play in Hell is because this is a song he wrote in 2013, when he was hospitalized for brain bleed. So this is actually a beautiful song about life and death, while also holding a significant place in Hoshinogen's heart. But after NHK's strong advice, he changed the selection to a song called Bara Bara, which he wrote almost 20 years ago. The song represents a time when he was struggling in life, and even had the thought of ending his life. At the beginning of the performance, with countless eyes on him, he sat there on the stage by himself in total silence for 15 seconds, as if he was soaking in all the things that had happened over the past year. After the performance, he then rushed back to host this radio show. When reading a fan letter that wished him to have a happier and less eventful New Year than the previous one, the man who took on the whole nation's hate with such grace finally broke down.
源さんの来年、今年ですね、源さんの来年が少しでも、辛いことの少ない穏やかな日々になりますように祈っております。新年からラジオの生放送をありがとうございます。ご家族でゆっくり休んでご飯食べてまた楽しい思い出を一緒に作りましょう。
Just because you only see them through a screen doesn't make them any less human than you are. So remember, it's free to be kind. This has been Cushion. See you next time.